CIO News. I am Khushbu Soni, your host for the broadcast and Chief Editor at CIO News. This is our exclusive interview series on the topic of Zero Trust Security Trend, an exclusive CIO and a CISO interview series powered by Zscaler. It is a recorded session and will be available on our website, which is cionews.co.in, and our CIO News LinkedIn handle. It gives me an immense pleasure in introducing our guest for today. She is Aanchal Mishra, the General Manager, IT, Services, Operations, and Digital Transformation. Aanchal is an experienced professional with assignments in the IT service delivery for managed services and execution of large and complex IT programs for global clients, including program planning, financial budgeting, and execution across industry verticals. Aanchal is an expert in developing world-class program management office and COE methodologies, framework, and process in alignment with PMI standards, service delivery management, ITIL framework, business process management, cost of delivery, vendor sourcing and management, pre-sale solution, global outsourcing, deals, and many more. She has international work experience of executing projects in US, EMEA, and APAC. Aanchal, it's an absolute pleasure to have you today.
Thank you so much, Khushbu. Pleasure to be here. Would be happy to share my experience into the IT services. I have been there for many years, like maybe 25 plus years. So happy to share some of my experiences on how the industry has changed over a period of time, how we have become more digital, how we have become more remote, etc. So yeah, there's a lot which is happening at the moment as well. So let's talk about some of those things which are really important today.
Awesome, great. So actually, I would want to first start with sharing about your day to day. I mean, you've been the general manager at position. I would love to hear what your typical day-to-day activity looks like.
So I am heading the retail IT operations globally for Shell for the mobility business, and we are currently setting up a lot of new applications and new roadmaps, at the same time transforming our infrastructure to more digital platforms. So the day-to-day activities would like to be strategizing how we become more digital, how do we make sure that our applications are accessible, how would the user experience be more seamless, because the work we do is across the end users across the globe, and the retail business of Shell is growing, so there is a need to grow as well as ensure that the business productivity is intact. At the same time, now with pandemic and COVID-19, everyone's working from home. So what are our important things to be incorporated are in our architecture so that the end users as well as the people across the globe are able to access our network seamlessly, and there is more productive environment with, of course, security intact.
Right. Awesome. And like you mentioned, there has been a lot of shift to the digital platforms. So would love to hear, Aanchal, what are the security requirements that can be considered to keep in place for organizations that are, moving to digital platforms or conducting their business digitally? So if you can share your thoughts and best practices on that.
Yeah, sure. So security there is a paradigm shift in the way we used to manage security. Earlier, the security was, of course, we trust and we verify, we figure out what are the vulnerabilities, and then we get into the vulnerability management. And that was actually typically in a legacy data center environment. Now that we are moving to cloud, and the scope is vast, as well as with last year being a lot of shift into working from home due to pandemic. we have the user base operating from anywhere and everywhere. So the endpoint security also becomes of utmost importance. So now the security has shifted into many segments, like the micro segmentation on the data center or in cloud, or we have the end devices, or we have users who are and the emails, we are able to access our emails on web, and hence it again requires email security. So there are different angles we need to keep in mind while we are designing our security architecture. So with that, multi-point security would be actually a good way to ensure that the organization's data is safe and secure.
Right, absolutely. Awesome. Also, Aanchal, we've seen that during the recent years, we've witnessed a number of counterattacks on large corporations, critical infrastructures of all kinds, public sector, private enterprises, with different levels of sophistication and diverse severity has been the impact. So, can you share your thoughts on how, you've been managing to keep the organization's security intact and safe in the current times?
Yeah, of course, we have, there are various measures where proactive and reactive, both types of measures organizations have to take. And so we are doing as well. So some of the things like, user trainings and making people aware, running security videos across the organization, ensuring that people are aware about the importance of cybersecurity. And also working on the phishing campaigns, and creating some simulations to have phishing emails so that people understand what it means when it is a phishing attack, because obviously it can lead to organizational hazards in terms of the data loss or the monetary impacts on the organization. So I would say that phishing attacks and ensuring the controls around that is also another important activity. And the third piece is on the audits, where the regular audits on the specified controls, because every business is different, and the INM or the security department within the organization defines the controls for each area based on our standard 27001 standards. And so those controls are in place, and there are proactive measures to ensure people are complying to those controls, and a regular audit is conducted for those. The other thing which we do is obviously the access control, because not with all the people working remotely and having access to the environment becomes very, very vulnerable. So and hence the access control becomes very important. With that in mind, which people need what kind of access, etc., becomes important. And hence, we also do an audit on whether the accesses given are right to the right people. So there is a quarterly review of the access controls, which ensures that the people who need to access the right applications have the access, and not others. So those are some of the proactive measures we take to ensure that the organizational data and network is secure.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, my next question is, we've seen a lot of adoption to cloud after the pandemic, and so wanted to, hear from you. What are the strategies that you've deployed to maintain compliance, in the cloud environment, or what are the cloud security practices that you've put in place?
Yeah, so with cloud, there is a different kind of measure we have to take. So once we have decided what kind of cloud we would be needing in our environment, we have, of course, adopted to the cloud, but with before that, we have implemented some of the controls which are either related to data, understanding the personal data, where it is lying, the sensitivity of data, business impact of losing that data. So there's a policy around that. Then there is a policy around what kind of application access is to be given to who, and then there is an audit policy which is made. So there are these different layers of policies we have designed for our cloud environment, and those are the cloud. For example, Azure, which is our preferred cloud environment, has been audited to ensure that we have all levels of security in that, and we follow the standards of 27001 and comply to that. Of course, not everything is on cloud, so the hybrid environment also needs to be taken care of, because some of the applications are still not on cloud.
Right.
So ensuring that the cloud, the hybrid environment is complying to all the security requirements is another aspect we need to keep in mind, and we keep implementing those. And there are some focused teams who are ensuring that the compliance and controls are implemented and audited on a regular basis.
Awesome. Great. Great. Also, Aanchal, lately we've observed that organizations' data flows across endpoint, cloud, web in real-time basis. And so, what is your data protection strategy for complete visibility and control of organizations' data from device to cloud?
Yeah, so we have, various functions. We have a cyber defense team who operates in an integrated blend of proactive and reactive capabilities. We have processes related to threat management, which limit the business impact by identifying and implementing some of the measures. We have vulnerability management team who make sure that the business impact is identified and implemented, the preventive measures are implemented. We monitor on a regular basis, and if there are incidents, the response to the incident is timely and corrective measures are taken to make sure that we have implemented all the learnings as well from the incident. So these are some of the things we do on our cloud environment on a regular basis to ensure that the environment is safe for us in terms of remediation activities. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. And Achal, what are your thoughts on the zero trust strategies that can be incorporated for secure network and application access?
Yeah, so linked with type of data, right? For example, most confidential data will be role-based, and periodic reviews of our access controls, ensuring all the logs are monitored are some of the ways which are really not zero trust. Zero trust is actually and not trusting anybody, right? So that is where the shift has happened in the industry. Earlier we used to trust, and we used to reactively verify whether we are secure and safe. But zero trust concept is about ensuring, saying that nobody is trustworthy, and we verify when they enter into our network. So we have various tools. In fact, Shell has implemented Zscaler as well at the endpoint, all the endpoints. So we have Zscaler implemented, where the security of the end users and end devices is verified at the start of the usage of the device. So zero trust is a really good concept and a platform to secure the organizations from the phishing and the cyber attacks, which are become high or are on the rise with the pandemic and remote working which allows access to everyone and everybody. So it becomes really important to have the security at the end device. And I think we have recognized that the importance of that. And of course, it kind of the impact is also financial as well as a loss of data. So we have implemented Zscaler to our at the end devices. And the other strategy we have is also the backup strategy. We are ensuring the frequent backups of data. So in case we have an attack, we are able to recover. Of course, we have some of the ransoms which happened, but you're not sure whether you will get your data back, even if you succumb to the ransomware. So in that strategy, we have implemented storage and backup more rigorously and in different areas. Because sometimes the data has to be secured in different regions due to local laws and regulatory requirements. So our storage strategy is based on and in alignment with regulated laws of the land. But we do ensure that we store data so that in case of attacks, we are still able to do the business continuity. The other strategy is, of course, updates and patches, because every day there are new patches which are coming in because of the changes in the softwares, hardwares, and everything needs to be updated so that it is secure and safe. So patching strategy needs to be really updated and ensure that is implemented on time so that we are safe. We are in a safe cyber environment.
Right, right. Awesome. Wonderful, Anchal. I think one last question before we end our discussion for today. Any best practices or any do's and don'ts that you would want to suggest to our viewers of this interview? It's more around the cybersecurity or the best practices for security transformation that you can recommend.
Yes, I would like to re-emphasize the fact that the security is of utmost importance for all organizations, because it costs money as well as it costs us the time to market and business impact. So, and hence, the security should become an integral part of the IT strategy from now on, especially with a lot of people working from home. It should be in our actually business plan to have a strategy around security. So that's the first and foremost. Then, of course, awareness to the users in terms of trainings, in terms of ensuring people are aware about the attacks and how the attacks happen and how the hackers are, eyeing to hack the systems and systems and devices in an organization. So those simulations of those phishing attacks is important for an organization to ensure that the employees understand what it means, what kind of emails are phishing, what kinds of data is important, sensitive, and so on. So user awareness for phishing is actually one of the key to ensure that we are in a safe environment. The other point which I already mentioned, we should have frequent patches and updates so that new hacking techniques are not able to be successful. And of course, number 4 would be identity and access management, where we try to ensure that we are giving access, only need-based access to the users, least, it is called least access, which is a new concept these days, where we ensure that the access is given to the least requirement of all the users. so that because the attacks happen through emails and through the endpoints, this point as well becomes of utmost importance. Of course, the usage of new tools which are right now in the market, because the vendors are understanding the requirement of security, and phishing attacks on the organizations can cause a lot of business interruptions and financial impact. There are multiple tools available in the market, so we should learn about them, and we should try to see how and what fits in our organizational needs, and try to make use of those tools for our environments, because these days environments also are complex, with cloud and legacy coming together as hybrid environments. So the usage of tools makes it really easy for us all to be safe.
Correct. Absolutely.
It's like a vaccine. Tools are like vaccines
Very
for
true.
cyber attacks. So, yeah.
Great, wonderful insights, Achal. I think our viewers are going to get good takeaways out of this. So thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us on this platform.
Thank you, Khushbu. It was great talking to you and sharing some of my learnings.
Absolutely. Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.